I'd scrolled past the ad dozens of times, assuming it was just another scam. But $3,000 a week? Desperation can make even the most absurd offers seem plausible. I needed the money. Rent was overdue, and bills were piling up. No experience necessary, no background checks, the ad said. Night shifts, immediate hire. It sounded far too simple, but I couldn't afford to think twice. Clicking the link, I filled out the brief application. Within minutes, I received a response. "You're hired. Report to 4223 Massillwain Way at 10 p.m. tonight." As I drove through the deserted streets that evening, my gut twisted with unease. The warehouse loomed at the end of a gravel road, its outline barely visible against the dark sky. Not a single car in sight. I almost turned back, but the thought of a $3,000 paycheck pulled me forward. The metal door creaked open at my touch. Inside, fluorescent lights flickered to life, revealing rows of shelves stacked with unmarked crates. A lone figure stood at the far end of the warehouse. I hesitated. Something was off. "Welcome," said a raspy voice. It was hollow, mechanical. I approached slowly. As I got closer, the figure became clearer and less human. It was a robot, its jerky movements and glowing red eyes putting my nerves on edge. "Please proceed to your workstation," it intoned, pointing to a small desk. A dusty computer sat on it, looking oddly out of place in the sterile surroundings. My hands trembled as I sat down. The screen flickered, displaying a single line of text. "Enter the code." "What code?" I muttered. Before I could ask, the robot's voice cut through the air again. "You have 8 hours to crack the encryption. Failure is not an option." The coldness in its words chilled me. My mind raced. This wasn't the job I thought I'd signed up for. But as I heard the door behind me click shut, locking me in, the full weight of the situation hit me. I was trapped, and the only way out was through. I typed in the first thing that came to mind, 1234. Enter. Access denied. I tried again, 5D678. Enter. Access denied. Panic clawed at my chest. What kind of code could this be? I glanced nervously at the robot, its unblinking red eyes following my every move. The silence stretched out, broken only by my rapid typing. The clock was ticking, and I had no idea what would happen if I failed. Hours passed. I tried everything I could think of. Birthdays, random strings, anything. Sweat beaded on my forehead as I stared at the screen. Nothing worked. Then, as the final hour ticked down, a thought hit me. What if the code didn't matter at all? What if this was all a test of how I thought under pressure? My fingers hovered over the keys, then I typed, "There is no code." The screen went black. My heart pounded in my chest, the silence unbearable. Then words began to scroll across the screen. "Congratulations, you have passed the first test." Relief washed over me, but it was short-lived. The robot's gaze shifted, toward the shadows where the crates stood. A low sound came from behind them, a scratching, almost like claws on metal. From the darkness emerged something I couldn't have imagined in my worst nightmares. It was part machine, part animal, its fur patchy, revealing metal plates beneath, and its eyes glowing a sickly blue. Wires twisted across its body like vines, pulsating with unnatural light. "Test subject Alpha 7 has been released," the robot said without even glancing at me. "Your next task is to subdue and contain it. Tools are in the locker." My mind reeled as I stared at the creature, trying to process what was happening. But the sudden shift in the creature's eyes from eerie blue to something almost human shook me to my core. I ran to the locker, my fingers fumbling with the latch. Inside, I found a glowing net, a crackling cattle prod, and a canister labeled sedative gas. The creature let out a wheeze, its chest heaving as if it were struggling to breathe. A garbled voice emerged from it, barely discernible. "Help. Me." The words froze me in place. Was this thing sentient? How could a machine ask for help? My heart hammered in my chest as I grabbed the net, but before I could move, the creature lunged at me. I dove to the side, grabbing the cattle prod and jabbing it into the creature's side. Sparks flew as it shrieked in agony, its voice a mix of animalistic growls and mechanical static. The music in the background, a slow, haunting tune, seemed to rise in intensity as I fought. The calm, almost elevator-like melody clashed with the chaos unfolding around me, making it impossible to tell how much time I had left. The creature circled, its eyes flickering between blue and something more human. I threw the net and it wrapped around the creature, crackling with energy. It howled in pain, thrashing against the glowing strands. "Help! Me!" it gasped again, softer this time. The words sent a chill down my spine. The way it spoke, the desperation in its voice, it felt too real, too human. The net began to flicker. It wouldn't hold for long. My hand hovered over the canister of sedative gas. Could I trust this creature's plea, or was it just a trick? My mind raced. The lights flickered off. The door at the far end of the warehouse creaked open, and a figure stood silhouetted in the doorway. The creature's eyes faded to black, its body slumping to the floor, lifeless. "You have passed the second test," the figure said, its voice cold and emotionless. I stood there, staring at the lifeless creature, my breath coming in ragged gasps. "Welcome to the team," the figure continued. "Your real work begins now." Thanks for listening to this short story. Subscribe for more short horror stories in the future. See you guys in the next one.